Welcome to LJG Sports. So, should the Spurs trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? I know there's been headlines and rumors around the NBA that because the Bucks were so disappointing this year and for the past 3 years, honestly, um, because they've made the playoffs and they've been out the first round 3 straight years now. They really haven't done much since that 2021 championship run. They got Damian Lillard, but that hasn't worked out. And so there is rumors, there are inklings around the league that Giannis will ask to be traded this summer. I know also he tweeted the other day like a salute emoji, seemingly out of nowhere. So people were speculating that that could mean that he's going to ask to get out of Milwaukee. So if he is available, should the Spurs get him? Now I'm doing this based off a mock trade from The Athletic, where it's a 3-team trade consisting of the Spurs, the Bucks, and the Pelicans. So how this trade would go down: the Spurs would get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, the Bucks would get Zion Williamson, Keldon Johnson, and 3 first-round picks, and then the New Orleans Pelicans would get Devin Vassell, Pat Connaughton, Jeremy Sohan, and a first-round pick. So what this would mean for the Spurs is we would be sending out Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and Keldon Johnson. 3 of our good young core players. We would keep Steph Castle, though, and I know a lot of Spurs fans would be happy about that. So we would be getting rid of Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and Keldon Johnson, and 3 first-round picks. I believe it's the 2027 first-round pick from the Spurs, so just our own 2027. Atlanta's 2025 first-round pick, and our own 2029 first-round pick. And because of that, this honestly isn't even getting rid of our best draft picks. I don't think this trade would happen because we're holding on to our own 2025 draft pick, which should be pretty good. It should be around 8. And then we're also holding on to Atlanta's picks in the next couple of years. I think we have 2 years still of their picks. And those would probably be more valuable considering that in this scenario we would have Giannis and we would have Fox, we would have Castle, we would have Wemby, and a top 10 pick this year. So you'd think our picks wouldn't be worth that much, at least compared to the Hawks, depending on what the Hawks do. But so if this trade happened, I think, again, first of all, I don't think this trade would happen. I think a lot of Spurs fans would be very ecstatic if this trade happened. One, getting Giannis, getting that, Twin Towers 2.0 would be really cool. And it would just bring a bunch of excitement to San Antonio because we would be in compete championship mode now. We would have Giannis, we would have Wemby, obviously, and we would have De'Aaron Fox. We would have Stephon Castle, probably coming off the bench because of spacing issues, especially with Giannis. We would still hold on to Champagny. Like I said, we would have a lottery pick this year, and we would just need to build, get some other pieces around, mainly like shooting 3-and-D guys probably, and we would be just in the mix, just like that, in the West, in a very stacked West. So I think a lot of Spurs fans would like this. I think it would hurt to get rid of Jeremy Sohan. And then even for some people, Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, even though I know there's a lot of Spurs fans who would rejoice at getting rid of Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell just due to their inconsistency and probably not long-term players for this team, especially Keldon Johnson. But, so yeah, if this trade happened, the Spurs would be ready to compete for a championship as early as next year. We'd keep Harrison Barnes in this, which I didn't even think about until now. Harrison Barnes would still be on the team, another good, solid role player who can knock down a corner 3. The defense would be scary with players like Castle. That you already have Area 51 with Castle and Wemby, and now you add Giannis Antetokounmpo. The only thing would be the offense because, again, you have De'Aaron Fox, who would be a starter, who isn't the best three-point shooter. He can knock them down, but he's not the best. You would have Giannis, who obviously is not a great shooter. You would hope Wemby can now, he proved last year he can shoot a high volume and hit at a decent rate. You would hopefully get a shooter in the draft. You have Julian Champagny, you have Harrison Barnes, but then you also have Castle, who's not a shooter. So that would be the main priority for the Spurs team. is to get through the draft or through free agency guys like Yabusele, Gary Trent, Luke Kennard, just to add some three-point shooting to this team, and bang, they're scary just like that. So, do I think the Spurs should trade for Giannis? If it's this trade, I would say yes. It hurts getting rid of, for me, Sohan, because Sohan, I think, is really underrated. I think his defense and being able to guard pretty well 1 through 5 is just very underrated and very useful to a championship team. Obviously, his offense is almost non-existent, but pick and roll, he's pretty good. He can get into the paint, he can score. I think he has a lot of value to a championship team. A guy who doesn't need the ball a lot, who's going to give you that nasty on the defense. And like I said, that would hurt for me. I think Vassell obviously hurts too because he is a bucket getter. Yes, he's inconsistent, but I think as we're seeing in these playoffs, you don't need your role players necessarily to be consistent. As long as they have a couple of nights where they go like Buddy Hield 30-plus points and it gets you a win, I mean, there you go. That's all you really need. And then Keldon Johnson, again, it hurts for me personally because he's been with the Spurs the longest now at this point. He's been the heart and soul for the team. He really gives a lot of effort on both ends, even though on defense, I know it doesn't seem like it. But, you know, he's a good player, but again, I just don't think he would fit on this team. And then the 3 first-round picks in this trade proposal, they aren't the best first-round picks we have. So I would be down for this trade 100%. Do I think the Spurs realistically should trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because I think it will take more than this. That's where I draw the line, where it's like, it just depends. If it includes this trade plus, like, maybe the Atlanta Hawks picks and Stephon Castle, I would say no. If it includes more than 5 first-round picks, I would say probably no. Like, why are we giving up this many picks for Giannis, which, again, he is a all-NBA level player, but you just don't gut your future for one player, and then how do you build a team around that? That's the thing you don't want to do. So to this mock trade in particular by The Athletic, I would say hell yes, even though it would hurt getting rid of guys like Sohan, like Vassell, even Johnson, but I think his time being traded will come eventually. So yeah, this trade I would say works for sure. If a trade even involves like salary dumping Kyle Kuzma, I'm not opposed to it, but if we're giving up 5+ first-round picks, it's like, no, we're getting rid of this bad contract you have. We're not giving up 5 first-round picks. So it just depends. Should the Spurs trade for Giannis? I would say yes with an asterisk. They should definitely see his availability. I think the Spurs, like a lot of other NBA teams, are waiting for the mock lottery because they will then know, okay, we have this pick, these are the deals we're going to get, these are the picks we're going to include in deals for these players. So I think the whole Kevin Durant trade, the Giannis trade, if it happens, will happen, and we'll get in motion really, like start getting going after the mock lottery. Because let's say Spurs get the first overall pick. Then there it goes. It's like, you're not giving that to Milwaukee. You're going to draft Cooper Flag, and then you have it there. You have your kind of Twin Towers there, and you build around that. If you're the Spurs, let's say you get really unlucky, you get the 14th pick and like the 10th pick. Okay, then you look, if you're the Spurs and you're like, okay, you look at the players that are available, and you only like a couple of guys like Knepel and Kaman Malawach, and you think they're going to go earlier than that, then okay, try to put those in a trade package for Giannis. So I think it'll be telling after the mock lottery, which is this Monday, to see what the Spurs and every other teams do, and players like Giannis and Kevin Durant do, if they try to force their way out after that. It'll be interesting. But yeah, let me know if you're a Spurs fan. Let me know what it would take for you to get Giannis. What's the absolute most you would give up for Giannis Antetokounmpo trade? And if Giannis gets on this team, what are the pieces you would have to add around to this team? Like I said, we have shooters, especially in that mock trade. We have shooters like Champagny. If Vassell's not included, we have Vassell. We have even Branham, who I think could be a good shooter and a secondary ball handler. So yeah, just let me know what you think down below if the Spurs should do it or not.